I feel every person must follow different methods and different paths to becoming an entrepreneur. For us, of course, marketing is extremely important. However, product comes first. Like if your product is working, then I believe the audience is somehow going to resonate with it.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for joining with us for today's interview. I'm Sanjana Kapoor and I'm Senior Manager for Investment Banking and Finance at StartupLanes. And we thank you a lot for taking out time from your busy schedule for this interview.
Glad to be here, like I said.
So before we move deep into the interview, I would like you to please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hey guys, this is Akshay Panchal here. I'm the founder of Booti Life and I've been running this business for the last 2 years now. And I'm a management graduate by educational qualification. And I've been in the business for about 2 years now.
Thank you so much for your introduction, sir. So as the first question comes up, we would like to ask you that have you always wanted to start this startup and what is the story behind it? We would like to know it.
So, no, starting this actually was not on the books for me. I was in fact planning to leave the country to study business management in Canada. Like I had even began preparing for my exams back in 2019, but as luck would have it, the lockdown came in and I'd been scouring the papers during those times when we were all locked into our own rooms. I was looking at multiple startups, health startups, rather being funded left, right, and center. And I was seeing wellness brands do very, very well when the health kick from Corona came in. I too had become a health nut back then, but I mean, who hadn't? So I thought to myself about, how about starting a brand which, addresses issues plaguing the youth, much like myself. Like I'm not talking about your single ingredient products like glutathione, like collagen or, melatonin. I'm talking about actually addressing lifestyle issues plaguing today's youth. Like, for example, today's youth in stressful situations go through sleep issues, go through hangovers, go through smoking issues, then weight management and stress. And these are the kind of issues that I want to address with my products. So my products essentially aren't going to be single ingredient, but they're going to be more like, they address a certain issue that happens to the person. So when I thought to myself, why not, address these issues? Why not help the youth in the market out there? And that's when the idea came to me that, let's conceptualize a brand that can actually do this. So, which is where Booti Life came into picture.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. So every startup success story has struggles and challenges, and every entrepreneur faces ups and downs. So we would like you, if you can share with us that what were the challenges and what were the struggles which you faced while bringing up this startup?
I mean, struggles aren't going anywhere, but talking about certain pressing moments in my journey, I'd say in the initial days when we were a bootstrapped entity, like, most of the manufacturers still do actually, but, back then they had like these really high MOQs, like minimum order quantity volumes, which I just couldn't afford. Like, for example, if I had about 10,000 units ka budget, their budget, and their MOQs would be easily about 30,000-40,000, so at least 4 times the MOQs that I would expect. So maneuvering around those MOQs, cracking deals, finding the right manufacturers who would work on my MOQs in the initial days was quite a bit of a struggle. And apart from that, finding the right advertising partners, then finding the right advertising platform to chalo. I mean, you have Instagram and Facebook today. But apart from that, the right partner is so important. Someone who can understand your brand DNA, someone who can understand your brand language, how you want to communicate with the consumer. So those are the kind of issues that we faced and are still facing, to be honest, to some extent. But I think we're in a better space right now.
I completely agree with that, honestly. So my next question to you is that during all this journey, did you ever feel like giving up? Was there any moment where you felt like
Multiple times. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'd be working on a product, keeping it under wraps, where I knew, this product is going to break the market for sure. But alas, as luck would have it, I think there's this very well-known brand I'm not going to name right now, but they would always beat me to it. Like they would always come up with a product before I did, and I would always question that now what, So then, yes, what one would do is just move on and think of another product. But it's times like these that makes you wonder that, अरे यार, ये product निकल जाता, market move हो जाता, I could have done this, but then नहीं यार, now my entire मेहनत has gone to waste. Is it even worth it? Then of course comes the question of advertising and marketing. I mean, I'm following the test and retarget theory, at all times, and I'm doubling down on marketing, but nothing seems to improve my ROIs, and instead my cost of goods sold is just going up. So it's moments like these where I would feel that, yeah, I don't think this is my cup of tea, but then the idea is to maneuver around it, isn't it? I mean, ultimately, as a founder, as an entrepreneur, that's what you have to do. Just deal with issues day in and day out.
Right. So my next question to you is that how would you describe the work culture of your organization?
Well, our work culture is, if I were to give you a metaphor, I think it's more like a playground. I mean, it's not like, it's all just fun and games. We do get some work done over here and a lot of serious work done over here. But when I mean playground, one is entitled to fall, learn, pick themselves back up, and just keep learning and having fun in the process. Because quite frankly, if you're not having fun what you're doing, you're just slaving away. So that's, I think, how I'd like to establish our work culture here at Booti Life.
Okay. And how would you describe yourself better than your competitors?
Oh, that's in one word: product. Like, we are very product oriented, because what I'm seeing nowadays is there's a lot of brands out there who are spending extremely heavily on marketing. However, product research is close to nil. When it comes to our product research, we prefer to run it through actual live scenarios, actual live audiences, and take their feedback and then come up with a product around their feedback and then remake the product. And so we go through a lot of processes in order to come up with a product. And these are like actual use cases. They're not just going to be lab tested. They're not going to be working on claims that you read here and there on Google. We actually believe in, let's try the product first. Let's give it to friends, family. Let's give it to their friends and family. Let's see how that feedback is. And then let's develop the product. So in one word, in hindsight, product is king.
Right.
That's how we differentiate ourselves from the competitors.
Right. So have you ever built any other startup before this, and was that successful?
Successful, yes, it was at one point. And in fact, my startup was that, since I come from a film production and advertising background, I started a production company with two other friends of mine. And we were quite lucky to see an early success. Like, we were making films left, right, and center. We were earning a good buck. We had some great dividends. And the end products always looked good. So we always had clients coming back for more. We gradually turned ourselves into a full service advertising agency instead. And we had some great big brands like Oppo in our portfolio. We handled Oppo creative mandate for all of 2019 and 18. But at one point during lockdown, due to creative differences, we had to call it quits while we were still ahead and, wanted to move on and do different things in life.
Okay. So my next question is that if not for your startup, what would you have been doing now? अगर आप अपना startup नहीं चला रहे होते अभी, what would you?
मैं business management पढ़ रहा था. I'd be studying. I would have taken up a job somewhere internationally, and that's what I've been doing. I would not have thought of starting my own company, and I would not have the, if there was no lockdown, if there was no real challenge stopping me from going there and pursuing what I really wanted to do, I'd be studying. I'd be working in a job 9 to 5. But I think I prefer the entrepreneurial route now.
How would you describe your journey as an entrepreneur in one word?
Rocky.
Why so?
Absolutely. I think any entrepreneur's life is going to be rocky. It's just how the trade is. Like you're dealing with issues left, right, and center. You're dealing with egos. You're dealing with multiple manufacturers. You're dealing with competition. So all these things, when they come into a mix, they do tend to make your journey a little up, full of ups and downs. But I think that's the fun, right? When you maneuver through them, when you come out on top, it's what the journey is, I guess.
Okay, so my next question to you is that do you believe that there is some sort of pattern or formula to become a successful entrepreneur?
I don't think there's a thumb rule of sorts that works, but one thing that's common between all entrepreneurs is the fire, the passion to reach new heights, to do something new, to do something interesting, to break the market. That is one thing that is common between every entrepreneur.
Okay, so my next question to you is that what are your shortcuts to deal with stressful situations and frustrations?
So I think the biggest one would be it's important to set boundaries, because what happens as an entrepreneur is you're constantly thinking about your brand, which is also your baby, 24/7. But it's important to maintain the balance between personal and professional life. That is one. Apart from that, day-to-day stress, you should also remove some time to meditate. You should also remove some time to read what you think is interesting. It can be fiction, non-fiction, self-growth, whatever it is. But of course, another important thing is, see, we're a country with a great cinema. It's also important to keep watching something or the other. It just gives you a new perspective sometimes. It just gives you a break. And I think I'm not saying binge watch the content that is being thrown to us left, right, and center via Netflix and Amazon. I'm talking about some great creative works by some international directors and actors. That really does make you think in a more esoteric and more, contemporary and out of the box manner.
My next question to you is that is there anyone you would like to thank for your constant support in your journey?
Yes, I believe that would go to my mother. She is my rock. She's always told me, like, whatever you do, but at the end, always ask yourself, have you put in your best? You can do whatever it is, but always you have to ask yourself, if I've chosen this for myself, have I put in my best? If the answer is yes, then one really can't worry about a thing, and you just have to consistently keep putting in the effort and just keep carrying on and leave it all to the universe. She'd always say that things have a way of falling in place eventually.
So my next question to you is that we have several aspiring entrepreneurs who are watching our channel. So what would you like to tell them?
In one line, I would say believe in your product or service, no matter how much people tell you otherwise, because if you don't, nobody will. It is important that the belief come from within, is what I'd say to aspiring entrepreneurs.
That's all from my side, sir. Thank you so much for this interview. And any particular feedback or something?
Yes, I think what you guys are doing is great for many young fire in the belly entrepreneurs such as myself, who are trying to leave a mark on the world. It's a great avenue to be seen about as you go about with your struggle. So I think it's a great launch pad.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you so much, Sanjana.